for once. Well,
Hello, people. It's Usmaan back again. Daniel just said he's not late for once. It's Lawless. You love to see it. Lawless probably still wondering where the West Ham players are because I'm probably more pissed off than he is. I'm not gonna lie, because I watched the fan cams and they weren't even pissed. I was fuming. Man, we'll get into the Liverpool game shortly. As always, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We've got a very good show. If you hate Spurs, you're going to love the first segment on the show. And obviously, talking Spurs, our resident Spurs fan, Kish, is in the building. What are you saying, brother?
Piss off.
I'm so happy, you know. I'm so happy.
No, listen, I'm going to try and keep my cool as much as I possibly can.
Good luck, man. Good luck. I'm coming for you, man. Don't worry, man. And also, we got the Chelsea fan back, the homie. Man wasn't here because he had to attend to certain matters. Frank Lampard relieved of his duties, as was Daniel last week, but he's here, back with the Tuchel era, building blocks FC. Daniel, what are you saying, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I mean, I was supposed to be here last week, but then I was dragged. I had to do my own channel, had to do other Chelsea channels. It was just crazy, man. Because obviously it was expected, but wasn't expected. The timing was a bit.
Daniel was buzzing, man. I messaged him in the morning.
I was. Let me not lie, but yeah.
I was fuming. That was a sad day for me, so I've got to be honest, man. So it was a sad day for us rival fans. You know, Chelsea finally getting a half-decent manager. But obviously we'll get onto that shortly. And without further ado, the homies from 3 in midfield, and one of them is from FSM Court. But we won't talk about that just now. Let's get but let's talk 3. You forgot. Pittsburgh guys. Oh my God! Don't be FSM Court. I got you guys. I got you. Coach always forgets. But listen, let's talk 3 in midfield. I still haven't met the third person. I don't even know who it is. But I've got 2 of the 3. We got Cahill representing Arsenal. What are you saying, brother?
All good here, man.
Wait, that's actually true. I've watched some of your streams, but I haven't clocked who the third guy is.
Yeah, who's the You need to introduce us to the third person.
So if you go back to the first, I say 50 or so podcasts, our best friend, our brother Darren, was a part of the podcast as well, but then he moved up north. So he couldn't do it anymore. And now he's got a lot more duties on top, so even streaming is difficult for him at this time as well. Okay, so it's a once in a while thing for him right now. But he's
I wasn't tripping then. Okay, that's fine. I think I've been really rude by saying that, but it's all good.
No. I knew there was actually 3 guys. I knew.
If you need a third person, I'm available.
Jeez,
represent Manchester United as always, brother. What are you saying?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm recovered from that nonsense game on the weekend, so I'm good.
I've just completely wiped my memory. I've got that Men in Black pen No, it kind of helps when other teams are shit. So let's talk about one of them. Jerry's put Jose away. Forward accent. Forward, where you? Listen, forward's the hobby, yeah. But I'm not seeing forwards. I've not seen a video from forward in a while, man. I didn't know if he was alive and I had to go on his Twitter. But listen, speaking of alive, it's definitely not Jose's prehistoric tactics. Kish, talk to me. Come on.
He can't even talk.
I've taken some serious humble pie, I'll be honest. So I had quite a few disagreements with fans yesterday on Twitter, and it went a bit crazy. I started getting some unfavorable DMs, to be fair. not too tasteful, if you get what I mean. Basically, so to break it down, he is the special once. I watched Jurassic Park last night, and that was an upgrade to the way that Mourinho plays football. So, to be honest, for me as a Spurs fan, it's sad to see, because even that, I'm sure Daniel, you'll be one of the first ones to admit it because you're a big Mourinho fan. It's sad to see that his philosophy and his stubbornness has taken him this way, because realistically, I still believe that he's a top manager, but he's just not willing to adapt his own training methods. He's not willing to adapt his game. And it's so sad. As close as 5 to 10 years ago, this is a manager who won the league for Chelsea in 2013. He was still winning serial trophies at least up until 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
But the game has moved on, whereas he hasn't moved on.
Bro,
with the,
bro, he was shit at Man United.
He's just not moved. No, but even in United, you could say yes, you came seventh the first.
You're gonna win. You'll win the League Cup. You'll win the League Cup.
No, but what I'm saying is, you still won the Europa League, which United have never won. You won the League Cup.
Bro,
So
listen. I'm not discrediting that Europa League, right? But as someone who went to every single game in that competition, we could not have played a shit run of games that you would ever. Basically, that Europa League run was worse than it was easier than England's World Cup run. Like, generally.
No, but listen, at the end of the day,
was it easier than Tottenham's Champions League run?
Yeah.
you
still got to win it. Listen, you still got
to win it, man. You still got
to win it.
Yeah.
You still got to win it because if it was as easy as that, then what was it? Man United would have won it last season. Then if it's that easy to win it, then Man United would have won it last season. Other teams in the Europa League, Arsenal have been there for God knows how many years, about 10 years now, and they've not won it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, do you know what I mean? It's a tough one, but it is sad to see because I think we're so predictable. At the beginning of the season, we had Kane and Son, and that was it. And I think after a couple of games, teams realize you take out them two players, it's game over because there's no tempo within the team. No one else is willing to do anything. I'm not surprised because he's got about 6 CDMs at the back.
But he's got Dele Alli playing good, doesn't he?
There's no moving. But
the one Dele Alli though, Dele Alli.
Yeah, let's behave on his first talk. But listen, the one thing that I am going to say, and this is why I got a slack yesterday on Twitter. I defended Daniel Levy, and the reason why I'm defending Daniel Levy is plain and simple, right? You can't expect him. A lot of people saying that, he's just happy with us getting Champions League football. He's not happy for us to win the league. But for us to be happy to win the league, you've got to have won the league. Do you get what I mean? Like a bigger decline is Arsenal. They were winning the league back in the early 2000s, and then they dropped to out of top 4 and now Europa. We've never been there, so you can't say to Daniel Levy that you've got us from a Premier League winning team to then top 4. The highest we've got is top 4. Do you get what I mean? So that's the difference. And then people are saying, yeah, this, that, and the other. But we're now in a stadium that's £1 billion stadium, right? On top of that, our training complex, the facilities that he's created within our setup is probably, I'm sure none of you guys can argue, is one of the best setups in world football, not let alone the Premier League, right? And then you talk about him not giving managers backing. This season, look at the players that Mourinho signed. There's not many players that he didn't get that he wanted. And people forget last season as well. Pochettino spent over 100 million. He paid 60 million for Ndombele, who's been a class signing, 20 to 25 million for Sessegnon, which people forget about 10 million for Jack Clark, and about 50 million, albeit about 20 million upfront loan fee for Lo Celso. So that was about 110 million pounds that he spent. And then on top of that, on the last day of the transfer window, we agreed a fee of 60 million for Dybala. The only thing that stopped us getting him was the third party, which Man United fans know.
It's too much money in it.
So if we had got him, that would have been 160 to 170 million pounds that Pochettino would have spent that transfer window. And bearing in mind, we tried to get Coutinho as well in that summer on loan from Barcelona. So you can't say to me that Daniel Levy has not backed his managers.
Right,
Yeah,
let's get one of the other points in, because obviously you've put a point out there. Some people disagree with the comment. They're referring to the season 2016-17 season of the Poch. Obviously, Kish is a defender Levy when he's not signed anyone. He's on about this season of when he's back.
Fair enough. I know a lot of fans disagree with me on Daniel Levy, and I got that yesterday, and I do get it. I 100% get it, but you can't. I've heard fans regularly saying last night that Daniel Levy is happy with top 4 not winning the league, but we've never been in the league race. Do you get what I mean? So you can't.
Right, listen. Let's get someone else.
That's me. That's my say on it.
You said your point, because otherwise we're going to be all night. Kale, what are your thoughts, obviously, as a rival fan, listening to this from Spurs fan? Do you agree with him regarding Levy, and obviously your thoughts regarding Spurs basically being finished?
Yes, I do agree, because to be fair, part of that argument I kind of use when people talk about Kroenke. I feel like we've spent a lot of money. Sometimes we just spend it poorly. So I can get behind that argument. But then again, watching Spurs flounder because Mourinho's taken over. I mean, everybody, you knew, Lawless knew, Daniel knew, everybody on this panel knew that Mourinho would eventually mess this up. And it's only taken him a year. So it's a new record, I guess.
Listen, Jose is a specialist in 2 year tenures, but Lolis, let's bring you in. Obviously, you know, I get the people in who got shit chairmen, and you know what it's like having a shit chairman. What are your thoughts from your perspective, looking of Levy's business? Do you think it's better than West Ham's or what? What are you saying?
I mean, it's interesting actually what Kish was saying. I didn't realize, you know, how much they spent and spent poorly. You know, we have spent poorly in the past. Like there've been times where people have been looking at us dropping like £45 million, and it's not worked out. Now, I don't know about the behind the scenes thing for Tottenham and how they're run and things like that. Obviously, the training ground and all of that stuff sounds good, but the problem with us is when we were signing players and spending big money, it was just looking at the names and the stats. There was no plan for that player and how they fit in the team. So I don't know if Tottenham are the same, if they're just buying players for the sake of buying the player rather than seeing how they fit in the team, and the actual organization is a problem. So there are probably a lot worse owners out there than Daniel Levy. I mean, I can't stand the bloke personally, but if I'm a Tottenham fan, yeah, he hasn't really regressed the club. I think, though, at the same time, when you and we was in the same situation, but when you move stadium, I mean, they've obviously knocked down their old stadium, built a new stadium on their old ground, but you kind of want to see a progression. Maybe that progression is going to take a little bit more time, but there has to be a reason why you're giving up your old ground for the new ground, 100%. Right? So there has to be, at least for Tottenham, even if they're not going to win a trophy yet, maybe try and get that stability in the top four. Like, you know, try if they can consistently finish in the Champions League, have good Champions League runs, and then try to get closer to challenging. Like, but they seem to be in that situation, like how they've been for years, like always floating there and thereabouts. They'll be in there one season, be out of there the other season. So that progression, I think, has to come sooner. And you know, Levy, he's going to have to make a decision, I guess, on Mourinho at the end of the season if he is the guy to do that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, I hear that. There's a lot of good questions coming in. Obviously, I can't see them. I'm going to trip them out to the guys, obviously, save me talking. But, yeah, no, notice, I hear what you're saying. Just want to say here, recruitment-wise, obviously, Bale, you know, these months thought he's going to be top 5 in the world. One of the best front threes in the world with Bale coming back in the team. It's not materialised. I do hear your point, Kish. I do hear your point.
By the way, our replacement I can see a message. Our replacement on Kyle Walker was Trippier. Now, he's not Kyle Walker's quality, but you can't say to me that Trippier was a bad defender, or he's playing at Atletico Madrid right now, playing almost every game. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people. I'm not defending Daniel Levy. Don't get me wrong, but all I'm saying is I'm putting another point across.
Kish, don't worry about that, man. If you think there's always going to be people disagreeing with you. Coach, let's get this comment because it was one of the topics I wanted to discuss. Akil saying, will Kane and Son leave at the end of the season if Spurs don't win it? I didn't even realize Kane's 27. I completely forgot. This guy hasn't got a single trophy to his name. And his caliber play, and I know people can say, well, Pogba's done the same. Me and Coach have said, I don't begrudge Pogba if he leaves. He needs to be winning league titles. I've never once begrudged him. And I feel like Kane and Son, Coach, sorry, what are your thoughts, man, on this?
There comes a time in your career where, if you're playing at a really high level and you look around your environment and you're not convinced by what's going on, you come to one of two decisions. If you want to keep him if you want to stay at the club, because someone like Kane has the authority to, you'll probably go to Levy and say, what are we doing to improve this team and take us to the next level? And if you're not going to do what I feel like we can do as a team, then I'm going to go. He has to take those steps. I think he's fiercely loyal, but at the same time, you don't know your career to go down as.
Do you not think it's a case of he needs to follow suit of all the Arsenal players that had to leave to get silverware? I tried
my best not to say it. I tried my best not to say it.
Why is Van Persie's name mentioned? I don't get it. Should we talk about Sanchez? When he decided to leave for trophies, and when did he end up with?
Premier League.
Sanchez?
Oh, not Sanchez. I didn't even need that.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So he does it all.
Alright, you ended up with a new piano, man. They're expensive, then. Piano lessons. Oh, man. You guys are so ungrateful, man. Man got free piano lessons and whatnot, you know. But, Coach, come on, man. Kane and Son, surely, they've got to be greener pastures, man. What are you saying?
They have to be thinking about it.
Why not 400 million, take them both? We'll give you Martial and Rashford, man. You take them both. Deal the thing, man. Deal the thing.
Kane more than Son, just because Kane's level in the last since I say 13-14 has been ridiculously good. So for me, I've said I think he's worth 100 million plus, but whoever's going to drop that, I don't know who it's going to be.
What's his point? Came on going to a level and ask for 100 million plus your kidneys.
Give the kidney, give it. But no, he's the main person that's thinking about leaving, because for his goal scoring record and the records he could potentially break at the end of his career, for him to have all of that and to not have a trophy is a scary thought. Or sorry, if he wins a league, if you want to be known as a League Cup winner, you know when you go and sit down for analysis later on after your career,
As soon as not.
that as soon as and then it says Harry Kane, League Cup winner, you're gonna feel sick. You're gonna be really truly knowing how good you are, you're gonna feel
World Cup quarter finalist.
You forgot Audi Cup as well, League Cup.
Champions League runner up, you know. So just need to be careful with that. But I think if they don't win the League Cup, they've got to a final now. Before they were semi-finalists, they're in a final now.
Yeah, they gotta win that one.
No, that's 2 out of how many? You know what I'm saying? So he's in another final now. If he loses this one and they get out Europa League, my guy, I'll start making phone calls with my agent. I'm not gonna lie to you. As for Son is too inconsistent for me to care.
What? No
way. That's a hot take.
But do you see now? Do you see why now? And this is why I find it so funny. My criteria works.
I knew he was going to say that.
No, do you know what? It's not even a I told you so situation, bro. The criteria is be consistent every single year. Son finally had one breakout season, and now it's dried up. No one's saying anything about Son. No one's saying anything about Son. And
you can't really say he's dried up.
He's been consistent for 3 seasons.
You can't blame. Look, teams, of course, can limit how well you play and sometimes can limit the optimization of your potential. However, world-class players are world-class players. They're always there. You know they're there. They don't look. How many bad managers did Hazard play under? Tell me. He played under terrible defensive coaches. As in, we never gave Hazard. I'd even say the one perfect team we had, Mourinho was the manager, where we had Costa, Oscar, Schürrle, that team where we won the league. That was the perfect Hazard team. After that, every manager was defensive, and then maybe Sarri, but we always had look, Son, Tottenham. The simple point is I don't even need to speak too much about them because we're kind of in the same situation. It's just that we're going on an upward spiral and they're going downwards. The situation comes back to Pochettino. Pochettino said just before the Champions League final, this squad needs a serious revamp. This squad is not good enough to carry on the next year. I don't care what you're talking about. You need to put in serious money and trust me with that money. If you don't, I'm going to walk away if we win the Champions League. Didn't win the Champions League. He goes in the following season with a limited team and they don't do that well.
I think it's harsh, man, on some because he's playing in a team that gives up so much possession. You know, they're not a team that likes to have the ball a lot and create a lot of chances and be there. But he decides to make a lot happen. Even if he's not putting the ball in the back of the net, he's a threat. Even against Liverpool, he was a threat. Even though they lost,
he was half an inch away from scoring.
He is a threat. He is a threat. I feel like, and maybe I don't know if Kish. I know maybe Jack. If Jack is watching and listening, he's the one that will agree with me. Kish, I'm not sure about you, but he always has a period in the season. And it's not a short period. It's a good period of time where he's just not on the same level. And if you go to a better team, a team that is like a City, or if you go abroad to Bayern or something, they're not looking for you to make those periods of time need to be a lot more consistent.
Can I just on the flip side? I hear your point, right? However, is there not a case that if he's at a Bayern, he's more likely to consistently performing at a higher level? Because he's got players of a caliber around him. Because Spurs, let's be real. If Son and Kane are the main sort of people that create chances, and it's so easy to mark Son out the game now because someone just said it. I don't know if Kish said it, but if you're a rival manager, you're looking at that, right? All you got to do is double up on the Son. You know there's not going to be any threat from the other side.
Bushman. Wait, Kojo. One sec. The reason why I just slightly disagree with that is because when I look at now, let me give you the perfect player. When I look at a player like Mahrez, who won his Player of the Year and whatnot at Leicester, won his Premier League, moves to Man City, is playing with better players, you wouldn't necessarily say Mahrez is world class, even though he's playing with those world class players.
I don't think Son's world class. I don't think he's world class.
Agreed. And my point is,
He's
Son's peak. I'm telling you, the reason why I say Son's peak is a Mahrez type season is because Son hasn't even scored more goals in the Prem than Mahrez's highest season. Mahrez's highest season is 17. Son is still on 12. And I don't know if he's going to get 17.
How many assists, though? What about assists did he get in that time?
Assists not that high either.
Assists isn't the same. Yeah, it's not the same level as Mahrez's.
Let's bring Kitchen. Let's bring Kitchen, because obviously it's his boy now. Kish, what are your thoughts?
I think for me, I'm always going to have a bit of biased opinion on Son because apart from this season, in the past, the argument's been that Son and Kane just don't play well together. In the past, as weird as it sounds looking at this season, in the past, whenever they've both played together, it's like they've got in each other's way. It's like they've got in each other's position. And it's actually been the last 2 years when Kane's been injured at vital points where Son has stepped up. Perfect example, Champions League final year, when he played against Man City, for example, and single-handedly, in my opinion, took City to the cleaners. Even last season, when Kane was injured, it was Son that was stepping.
Son was carrying.
That goal that he scored against, I think it was West Ham that he scored against. That's just one goal that he scored, but he was on an absolute madness up until he got injured last season, and then Ali stepped up, and then he got injured, and it was finished. But the last few seasons, you can't say to me that he's not stepped up his game. In fact, looking into his stats, he's been on double figures for goals and assists in the last 3 years, playing at Tottenham, who in recent times we have been at a slow decline. And our last 2 seasons have been our poorer seasons, last season and the season before that. So you can't say to me, yes, he might just be off the world-class level. Don't get me wrong. He might be that shade off it. Yeah. But would you take him in almost any team in world football right now? 100%. I can't think of any teams that he won't get into at the moment.
Nah, come on, he won't get into Bayern.
Okay,
Bayern would still take him, innit?
Bayern would take him, yeah.
Bayern have got Gnabry on the wing alongside Son, who's on the bench. Son is on the bench.
Yeah,
who's the guy starting? Coleman? Kingsley Coleman starting, I think, on the other side.
Yeah.
Sane
is on the bench. Douglas Costa's on the bench for them as well. So
yeah, but he's a
Leroy Sane.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I just think that whenever Kane's been injured in the last few seasons, he has bailed us out big time.
Well, he's got a chance to bail you out against Chelsea. And then the last time Daniel called a player out, about clutch moments, man delivered against his own team. So listen, Daniel, if Son scores, I'm telling you, bro, I'm coming for you.
Hey, clip this. Tottenham are not winning that game. I'm telling you that for free. You know me. I don't make those statements. But
that's the 23rd minute on the video. Please clip that someone. Yeah. Sort it out. But yeah, let's move on to Arsenal. Obviously, I was speaking to Kale prior to coming live. Fantastic window from Arsenal FC. Finally, bro. But I'll let you talk regarding the team and how you're feeling, after the window. You've kind of had a resurgence of form. How are you feeling, bro, at the moment?
Up and down is a bit, it's I can't really trust what Arteta is doing right now. It's a bit weird because we know we're playing well right now, but then again, we all know there are some players in that team that just when they're off, they're off. We got rid of a few deadwood players that we've been trying to get rid of since Arsene Wenger's time. So Mustafi's finally gone. Now it's time for David Luiz and Rob Holding and Xhaka and all those guys to get out hopefully next transfer window. In terms of form, it has been good. I'm liking what our young players are doing right now. But then again, they are young. So will they be up to the task if in a few games' time a big team, I'm not saying that Man United are a big team, but we all know Ole. I mean, it was 21 and what it was 21 before, but now you guys aren't exactly clamoring for the title, are you? But if a big team comes and shows us what's what, then the heads might drop and the form might dip. So I'm not sure.
Fair enough. Kale Red was to trigger me with that comment, but he didn't. He tried it. But listen, I don't get triggered by these comments because me and Koji are very level-headed Man United fans. regarding Arsenal first and foremost, not alone this will bring you in because myself, yourself, and Daniel have been very critical of Arsenal for a long time now. You know, have you seen something different with them since the last time we spoke? Or what are your thoughts? Oh, Lawrence, I think you're muted. Can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, like obviously the young players have stepped up, which I think has helped them massively because a lot of their big players and a lot of the players that they should be relying on just weren't doing it. So I think that's given them a bit of a boost, and I think the young players have given them sort of grabbed that opportunity with both hands. It's just a case of like if they can sustain it, because we've all seen with young players. I mean, every single one of us can attest when you get that young player who comes in, they look amazing at the start and then they just fade out. Like, so a lot of owners get excited. Like, I'm sure like Kroenke and that will be like, yeah, we don't need to spend. Look, like Smith Rowe, Martinelli, they're all doing it. Yeah, like Saka, yeah. They're like, yeah, that's it. We don't need to dip in the transfer market. But that's just, it usually happens. I mean, look when we had Reece Oxford, like he pocketed Ozil.
Right, I forgot.
I mean, that's 16 years old, right? Pocketed Ozil, bossed Arsenal, right, completely. And like he just after that, he would have a few good performances. He was looking good, and eventually he just wasn't the same. And now he's had to go play in Germany, and he just could not get in the first team. And we've had other players like that. I can name players that you probably won't even have heard of that looked good for us and were promising it. And it's the same with Man United and Arsenal. So obviously we've had them. So I think it's good that they've been able to hit the ground running now, and it sort of kept them ticking over a bit. But they still need to try and bring in some quality players, and then their other players who are their big players are getting older, like Aubameyang and players like that. So yeah, I wouldn't, if I was Arsenal fans, I would, because they have a tendency to get carried away, and I already see some of them like, yeah, we're back, Arteta's fixed it, we're back on it. But a lot of teams will have that, you know, you'll have that little purple patch. You know, you might have your bad patch and have your purple patch. There's going to be a time where results aren't going their way again and they're dropping points and things like that. So you can't expect this period to continue for all the way to the end of the season. So yeah, it's good. It's good that they're able to pick up the points and get away from that relegation zone and closer to where they want to be, but I temper the excitement.
Yeah, no, I hear that, but I think in terms of Arsenal fans getting carried away, I think it's just a football fan thing, but like, you know, as Kale's alluded to, 21, the Man United fans have, you know, myself and Coach have been getting involved as well, but I think we're probably saying it in jest, it is what it is. But
in jest, we're like, nah, don't say it.
I'll be honest with you, I'm going to make a point right now after this one, because we're going to talk about Man United, and I'll explain to you why 21 and 21 could happen, or it's not currently happening. Like, you'll understand after I've said it. But anyways, Daniel, I don't know why you look at me like that, bro. Your team's dead. But speak to me about Arsenal, bro.
You know why Usmaan so funny? Even when I want to have a serious conversation with him, he thinks I'm bantering with him.
I'm gonna double check it.
Yeah, he came for your neck on Twitter, right? He did. I'm not in the mood for you,
bro. This guy, Kojo, have you seen my man's tweets? Every time one guy don't get a result, we tweet to us, and man's coming for all of our players, you know.
No. And we're gonna get to it, but anyway, with Arsenal, the thing about Arsenal, I would say is. It's what is the end goal? Because I don't understand what the end goal is. What is Arteta supposed to do? I'd really like to know what the objectives were
in the Premier League
at the beginning of the season. Champions League in 3 years, yeah. Mm-hmm. But at the end of this season, what were the objectives to get what? What do you think the objectives were, KO?
I don't know. I think they would. Desperately hoping for a top 4 finish because that off the win in the FA Cup. Yeah, I mean the form in the league was exactly great, but because of how we dealt with Manchester City, how we dealt with Chelsea, everybody thought that we'd be this defensively sensible team, which to a degree we have been, but on the counter we'd be devastating, and that just hasn't happened. So
yeah, it's confusing because for me, like now. If you don't get top 4 this season, which I don't think you will, then like where's the progression? Like how are you improving? Because obviously Europa League is the bare minimum. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we can analyze Arsenal till thy kingdom come, but if we don't understand what the objectives are and what the goals of the club are, then what's the point? Because I can tell you now for free, Chelsea's objectives now for this season is finishing top four, and next season they expect the league title. As in, that's it. Man United, I expect league title. I think Oli has one more year to deliver league title. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But next season, I think Oli, they need to tell, like, they're going to tell Oli, you know what? You've had 4 years now. We want the league title.
He needs to get sacked, man, end the season. Get a top for Oli and just on your back.
It's been 4 years.
It's going to be, next season will be the fourth.
It's not.
4 years since Rio was like,
no, next season will be the fourth.
Be third.
Would it be third?
Yeah.
3 years is still a long. That's a project.
That's a project. We'll
get on to Oli in a second, because to be fair, I think I'll explain in a second. It just
you're
regarding Arsenal. But no, I to be fair, that's a good point. I think in Arsenal's defense, right, they kind of doing. Arteta's kind of doing what Oli's done. I think in terms of cleaning out the squad, and like for me personally, my squad now looks really good. Like, we're doing a couple of additions, like about 4 players, I'd say, and then we can. I don't know what coach thinks, but I think we should be up there for the title, or under a proper coach that is not Oli. For me personally, someone thought Oli's a clown in the show. Oh my God, Oli gets so much shit on my channel. I swear to God, I'm not had anyone who likes it. But I'm gonna read off a start, and this is coming back to the 21 in 21 and why it's not happening at the moment. Listen to this start, right? I've been saying to Kolja for a while. Me and Kolja on each preview, we like X, Y, and Z needs a goal, because the confidence, and mainly Martial, obviously. But last 5 Premier League games, Man United's front 5. So I'm talking about Bruno, Cavani, Rashford, and Martial. And I've put Greenwood in there, although I don't really care about him because he's a kid, But last 5 Premier League games, Bruno 1 goal. I think it was a pen. I don't remember off the top of my head. It probably was. Cavani 1 goal. Rashford 0 goals. Martial 0 goals. Greenwood 0 goals. And people are sat there, right, saying Man United have fallen off. Well, the issue is we're not scoring any goals. Like, I think Pogba's our leading goal scorer in the last 5 games, which is unheard of given what obviously the shit he's been through, etc. But in terms of obviously, me and Coach have spoken about in detail on the WhatsApp group, but for me personally, you can't have any. Like, I'm surprised we still need the top. I'm genuinely shocked, because if none of your front men are scoring, it's baffling that we actually get any game.
No, but the question I asked you, and that's what I want to ask United fans, so Coach Usmaan, is if we look back at those games, Liverpool, Arsenal, less so Sheffield United, but those 2 big games, you created, and I told Darren this on my channel as well, you didn't just create chances, you created gilt-edged chances.
No, but this is the problem.
So how do you blame Oli? That's my point. How do you blame?
No. The thing is, right? The issue, there's 2 issues at the moment. And Coach is going to agree with me. In the Liverpool Arsenal games, I can overlook it. But in the other games, against Sheffield United, Wolves, West Brom's, Southampton, those games, we're not creating any chances. We're literally in our heads as a fan. If we miss 1 chance in a game, which is normal, right? No one's ever got 100% conversion in the history of football, right? If you miss 1 chance in a game, in our head, you're like, we're missing chances. But if you actually look at it, dissect the games, we literally create 2 chances a game. And if our players don't have 100% conversion rate, it looks like we're flopping. But the truth of the matter is, we're not creating enough chances, and that comes down to the coaching. You look at the players we've got at our disposal, right? We've got Pogba and Bruno, to argue 2 of the best midfielders in the league, right? They're both in the top 5. I'm saying anyone he's going to disagree in their positions. They're both in top 5 comfortably in the league. Pogba, you could argue, is first, but it is what it is. And you've got players like Rashford, Martial, Cavani up top, with Greenwood on the bench, and you're not creating any chances. Like, coach, what are your thoughts? I know it's got to be down to coaching. There's no patterns. Against Arsenal, man, there was no patterns of play. It was hit the ball in behind to Rashford and hope he runs in behind and gets on the end of it. And there was the same against Liverpool, but it just worked on that day.
It is a mirror of things. Firstly, in terms of Arsenal, we should have tucked them away. Cavani, namely, 2 chances, should have tucked them away all day long. So that's why you can't blame Ole when it comes to those. Sort of like what I said about Lampard and Werner. I can blame Lampard for a lot of things, but some of the misses that Werner had, there's stuff that you can blame the manager for on those ones. 100%. But also, it does come to the coaching, and it comes to selection choices also. This is what I was trying to allude to earlier in an earlier pod, where I said You can't expect United to bring the ball out from the back and play some style of football when you've got two players, McTominay and Fred, who just don't have the facilities for that in their ability. They're not capable of doing so. And when you play Pogba on the right wing, so he's doing a reborn Aaron Lennon without the speed.
Oh my God,
doesn't make any logical
sense.
sense.
It's not Sissoko playing Rob England and Josie. Just why?
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like against Sheffield United, where you know they're going to be defensive. I go to Martial because he doesn't make enough runs in behind. So if he's not someone that makes enough runs, but he has to have the ball to feet or back to goal, someone like Jagielka, who then does have to worry about going against someone for speed, he's going to go and do his job and do it well. So this is where you come into a lot of factors. But all in all, coaching is a factor. But you know what, bro, I'm not going to lie to you, yeah? I've been screaming at Ole so much, I just feel like sometimes the players get away with it.
The players are culpable as well, don't get me wrong. Obviously,
yeah. So I'm just going to say it like this. Sunday, or Saturday, was it Sunday or Saturday? Whatever day it was, Cavani stank the joint out. Bruno stank the joint out. Rashford again and again and again doesn't make the right decisions on the pitch. And this is what stopped him from maybe having, I think he's got, what was it, 7? Were we told 7 goals and 5 assists this season? Yeah. It's just decision making that stopped him from having 15 goals, 10 assists. It's those small things. It's those things that even in games where we don't play well, when you get into positions to make the difference, you got to make the right choices. 9 times out of 10, he doesn't do that enough. So, you know, at the end of the day, Ole, I get on to him because that's just beating the old drum though. Substitutes, selection, tactics. I can go on that really long. But sometimes these players, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. It's tiring.
It's all of them. I've listed 5 players. I know everyone's on Martial's case, and rightfully so. He's been absolutely shambolic this season, but he's not the only one that's been below par of late anyways.
The thing to add though, on Cavani, he's done that his entire career. He's never been clinical. If you look at his chances, he basically missed an open air. Have you seen his PSG games?
Yeah. I know.
Do you remember against Chelsea when he was at PSG, the amount of chances he missed? He's not a clinical striker. He gets in the right positions every time, which is why he scores. But it takes him. He's not like an Aguero or Kane, where you give him 1 or 2 chances, bang, goal. Yeah. He's not that type of striker, unfortunately. And you knew what you were going to get with regards to that.
No, listen, Cavani for me has been a brilliant signing. I'm not even hating on him. I'm just saying the issue at the moment for Man United basically is that our players are not clinical enough, especially the front line. So that's kind of why we're not getting.
Why didn't he start Greenwood? Just out of curiosity, because obviously Greenwood scored against Liverpool in the FA Cup, so he's obviously on a high. Why is he?
Because Ole's at the wheel.
I don't know. It didn't make sense, to be honest. I don't know why
his confidence this season has not been great because of everything off.
Well, Baye's got 2 of the matches. He got a knock and he's not been back.
Yeah, for sure. Surely he should be given a run of games, no?
I don't know. And it's still, you know what managers are like. They got their favourites in it. But listen, let's move on to West Ham against Liverpool. I don't know if I was more pissed off than you were, because I was absolutely fuming because I felt like Liverpool were there for the taking in that game. Like in the first half, nothing happened from their perspective. They offered nothing. It took 2 moments of absolute brilliance from Salah to win the game for me. And you guys should have offered more going forward, because when you did, they looked like they couldn't deal with it. But Lawrence, I'll pass it to you first and foremost, bro, man. 3-1. How you feeling?
Yeah, do you know what? Like, I'm still a bit pissed, and there's a weird sort of divide in our fan base. Some people are like saying, "Oh, we're fifth," but you should be allowed to still criticize performances. It don't matter if you're against the champions or relegation candidates. You should the performance levels, the effort levels should still be there. And I just thought we was just poor. We had no desire, no intensity about us. It looked like we was just beat when we went off on the pitch, and I think a lot of it does come down to the manager. Our record against the so-called top 6 hasn't been great, and I think that is a Moyes. I think that traditionally that's Moyes, what he's like. I think for other clubs, but we was just poor. Like Antonio was just honestly, that was the worst game I've ever seen him have in a long time. Just sloppy passes. Poor decision making. Bowen was awful, completely at fault for this. Yeah, their second goal. Like I was fuming on the watch because of that. Like we're sitting there and you see me going right. Come on, make this count. Let's make this corner count. Next thing, shit corner. Don't be the first man. Go straight up the other end. Like Creswell, another one who's been amazing this season. for their first goal, just back him off him, gives him space so he can opens up and put it in the back of the net. And yeah, it was just really, really poor. Like we should have just played this, like approached it the same way we've been playing all our other games, rather than being like, oh, it's Liverpool, it's the champions. Like
that first half, you made it very difficult for them, man.
I feel like we had the game plan. You could see there was a game plan there to try and frustrate them, not give them really much opportunity. But you've seen time and time again, like when they've played against us, it literally can take just 2 or 3 passes for them to go down the other end and stick it in the back of the net. Like this is like the 3rd time or whatever Klopp's team now have scored from one of our own corners. So when we see that time and time again, you need to be prepared for that. And I think that's just criminal for Bowen to do what he did. But yeah, I really expected us to come out a lot better in the second half, and we was just it was just poor. And I think the substitutions like Noble coming on, I can see maybe why he brought Fredericks on for the pace, but rather than Lanzini,
why didn't Noble come on? Because I thought you were just let's shut up sharp. I didn't understand it at all.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was trying to solidify the midfield by putting the extra body in there and try and make things happen in the midfield, but he's just not quick enough. He's a lot of the time he's trying to stop, look up, and that is the problem with a lot of our play that day. It's like rather than move the ball quickly, and that's the thing. If you're going to counter attack a team, you have to make them passes quickly. But when you're stopping and looking and finding, who can I pass to? Who can I pass to? You're never going to get anything out of the game. And Noble is the typical, the sort of he's the poster boy for that. So he just slows the game down, which is what we don't want. It's. Yeah,
you ended up scoring when it was too late, really, and you had to offer more from set.
Man.
Awesome. Got proper defense, like.
Yeah, Souček was like he had. There was a few chances where you think like, oh yeah, he's going to get on the end of this, and he quite didn't. But yeah, he wasn't quite there in the game. Ben Rama was trying to make things happen on his own. I thought the centre backs were great, but yeah, it was just a bad day. And I'm telling you, like, we have to win that game. If we're going to be serious and show what we're about, and we're not just here for a moment.
I'm looking at the table, but you guys are flipping killing it. You're fully favored above Spurs, above Chelsea, above Arsenal.
But this is the thing, like,
that's good.
But it's deadline day now, and we have one striker who has, like, honestly, elastic band hamstrings.
Yeah.
Like. And we're talking about we're not going to bring anyone in. Well,
I'm hearing Agalo's available if you want him.
Well, it's a body. I'd take Agalo. I'd take Joe Linton. I would take honestly even
gone to Qatar.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Harabi or someone like that.
But this is the thing. There's no one pushing Antonio. That's the problem. No one's pushing him. There's no one there. He can drop a bad game and know that he's going to keep his place.
Top, I ain't even benching,
Yeah,
I'm not benching at all. Yeah, like Creswell's got bad boy crossing him, as does Bowen. Just put Souček up top. Get Antonio playing off him. Job done. Then Fellaini and Cahill run it back. Listen, Daniel, let's get your thoughts on Liverpool, in particular, Mohamed Salah. You've come out on record and said Salah is a top 3 winger in Premier League history.
Yep.
What are your thoughts, man?
Look, Mo Salah, Chelsea got to hold that L, man. Do you know what I'm saying? They got to hold that L because it was a big mistake to not. Obviously, that's why I never get into arguments about players' ceiling because you can just never predict a player's ceiling. Like no one would have predicted after seeing Salah the first time round that this would be where he could be, like potentially get to. In isolation, if you look that second goal in particular, forget the first goal. The first goal, he does that, innit? The second goal, do you know how hard it is to control that ball with your right foot and then finish with your left? He made it bounce, stopped it dead, like.
Yeah, he made it look so easy. It's crazy.
Come on, man. It was effortless, man. It was effortless. Come on, this guy, and a lot of disrespect gets put on his name that all he does is score goals. He's a clumsy dribbler. All this stuff. You know, when you're looking for just little things to discredit, that's what people do to Bruno Fernandes, isn't it? And even though I have my criticisms of him.
Daniel.
Yeah, go on.
You know when people tell you though, that all he does is score goals. I'm like, what the hell is he supposed to do?
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, so what do you want him to do then, bro? The reason why I say this is because this guy has come into the club. I mean, has been one of the reasons why They've gone on a Premier. They've got a Premier League. They've got Champions League win as well. Look, I mean, everyone says Liverpool are out of the title race. Look, they're 4 points behind City, so you just never know what could happen. I still believe City will win it. They were my pick at the beginning of the season, but you just never know because Liverpool are that good. Do you know what I'm saying? And for them to be in the title race with no centre backs all season, that shows you how good this team is. Like, let's not get it twisted. Liverpool's still a good team. And then on top of that, just to round it all off, I mean, he's going to spend a significant amount of time in the Premier League. That's why I put him in the top 3. As well as that, he's on track to average 30 goals a season, 44, 27, 25, 25, and then obviously he could get 27 this season, which would mean he's averaging 30 goals in all comps, which I think is unbelievable for a player like that we didn't expect anything of. And a lot of people said one season wonder. And maintaining the standards of that first season, that record-breaking season, has been difficult. But Salah, man, I apart from Ronaldo and Hazard, I honestly don't believe you can tell me a winger above Salah, man. He's deserved it.
Fair enough. Kale, what are your thoughts on that?
Agree. I think I don't like. It's weird because he doesn't dribble aesthetically pleasing as Mane. Everybody just puts him ahead of him for some reason. I don't get it. I love Salah. He's a fantastic player. He really is. In terms of if you talk, I think you can say he's probably the best right winger the Premier League's ever seen. Beckham's up there.
I don't think you can even put him in that category. I've got to be honest. When Daniel said the 2, I just liked it because I was thinking about it. But I don't even think he can't be top 3 because he's not a winger.
But do you think he is a forward? So
he's a forward.
What cat? Because you can't put him in the like Van Nistelrooy, Drogba.
Yeah, know, but he's not a winger. Do you get what I'm saying? He's not a winger, is he? Really?
When you think about,
he practically plays. He's not the same as Perez or Ljungberg, is he?
No, but that's because of how the game has changed.
Perez was
I know, that's what I'm saying. But that's why you were saying he's the top 3. I feel like because like I heard someone say Ryan Giggs should be top 3, and I seen a stat that he's going to overtake Ryan Giggs' goals. But Ryan Giggs was an actual winger. Like he had chalk on his
The overtaking Ryan Giggs is. I'm not even talking about that. I'm even talking about like I still believe Salah is better than Ryan Giggs in the overall. Ryan Giggs quality, whatever. But Salah's better.
I don't think he is. I think you're massive disrespecting Giggs.
Nah. To say Salah's better than Ryan Giggs.
I don't think he's better than Giggs. I don't know what Kojo thinks.
Nah, man.
Kojo's not reacting at all.
I'm saying that. I'm not involved.
Salah should have been what? Salah was top 3 Ballon d'Or. Giggs was never in that conversation.
But then you get to the conversation of in that era, how many players were they up against and all that kind of stuff.
That's my point is. No, my point is, if you look at it, to get top 3 with Ronaldo and Messi is harder to. Back in the day, literally a lot of players could get into the Ballon d'Or conversation. That's why it changed year on year.
Listen, my issue with this whole conversation, you've kind of answered it yourself because you said football's changed. That's why I don't think you can compare Salah and Giggs because their role was completely. If a young Giggs was on the scene right now, with the ability that he had when he first came through the scene, and he was playing in a similar role to Salah, what's to say you couldn't put those numbers up? Because that Giggs, when he was in his low 20s, you couldn't defend against him. The guy took on 6 Arsenal players comfortably. Like, he was what you call a proper winger. And I know it's one example, but Giggs has done it for so many years, like consistently at Manchester United. I don't know.
Look, do you know what? We that one we can like agree to disagree. But the point is, obviously, I understand why you're not putting him in the winger category. But I'm thinking of it like when you're gonna make all-time XIs and stuff like that, you're obviously not going to be so rigid with the winger / forward type thing. So if you were to make an XI, world XI, and it came between Salah and Giggs, you're telling me you're picking Giggs?
Yeah, but like you said, it's different eras. Like
forget the era. Forget the era. We're just talking about the players. No, Usmaan, I'm not letting you get out of this. Forget the eras. I'm talking about now. We're creating a team. Just pick the better player. That's it.
All right, okay,
you put them both in because Giggs plays on the left and Salah plays on the right.
Shut up.
I'm joking. I did it.
I wouldn't need to worry about it because I've got Ronaldo, so I'll put Ronaldo there. So good.
Look at the way these
The thing is, it's so easy for me to say, like, I know like you get football fans say, oh, Neymar's better than Ronaldinho and shit like that. Because Neymar's currently playing, is doing his thing right now. It's fresh in everyone's memory. I don't like if you had fresh Giggs right now, you know, obviously doing his thing, then you can compare him. Like you can compare Salah to Son because they're both playing in the same era. Like everyone's always gonna discredit the person from way back because everyone forgets how good they were until you watch them back and think, oh shit, like they were next level. Like people don't even mention the Brazilian Ronaldo anymore. Like, are you taking this?
No, people still mention him.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is
people definitely still mention him.
he doesn't get the same acclaim that he would be if he was playing today because people's memory is short. That's what I'm saying with Giggs. Okay, his stats are shit. I'm gonna keep it real. His stats aren't good at all, really, given how many games he's played. But for me personally, like Giggs is unbelievably good. Like everything about his overall game. Yeah, he did have to obviously do more goals, lads. But listen, I look to get everyone else's thoughts because everyone else is just looking, thinking. Right, Lawrence, we'll come to you first. What do you reckon?
Well, you know what I mean. I agree with Usmaan in a lot of ways because that's my mindset. Is I never really like to compare players from different eras because there's so many different variables. Like just the way the game is now, players are more taken care of. There's more science behind it. They're treated a lot more like athletes, so they have all of this going for them, whereas a lot of players back then it was just literally like, you know, their natural ability, and they weren't taken care of so much, or they wasn't doing this elite level training. So there's so many different factors at play to really compare. So I never really like to compare different era players, and that's why I think like a world or like an all-time 11 is really difficult because. And like what you were saying, it's been about obviously players being fresh in our mind. Like he's doing it right now, Salah, and we're watching. We're like, oh, look at them numbers.
He's just come off a back of scoring a bad boy brace, right? I can imagine if you roll it back when Giggs has done something amazing, just imagine Giggs did not run against Arsenal yesterday. Like, you know what I mean? People are going to be talking about he's one of the best in the world.
Yeah,
but like,
that's harsh on Salah.
It might be different when they're goal drought though, like because they went through a goal drought, Liverpool. And no one was really talking up Salah at that time. Obviously, look, that goal drought doesn't discredit what Salah's done and everything like that. But people might be less inclined to hype him at that time.
Liverpool are gone on a goal drought, but isn't Salah top scorer in the Premier League?
Bro, Salah's top scorer comfortably, and he will arguably win 3 out of the 4 Ballon d'Or, Golden Boots since he's come to the league as a winger forward. Like, bro, that's like
Daniel. The difference is when Giggs was playing. I'm not trying to make excuses for him because that's Usmaan alluded to for what? How many goals was it? 900 plus games. Yeah. To have that number of goals and assists, you should have done better. But his overall role was to supply.
No, I think you man think I don't understand. Of course, and
I know you get it. That's why I'm not using numbers for my argument. And I'm not even arguing it, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Really and truly, I had this argument with Cahill before, not this one in particular, but I said I don't really want to defend that guy too much because as a person, don't really rate him. Yeah. So I'm trying my best to do it like that. But at the same time,
you don't rate Salah, but you rate Giggs.
Who said I don't rate Salah?
No, he doesn't rate Giggs.
I said as a person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because of certain topics, isn't it? So, that's why I'm not trying to defend him too tough. But at the same time, just because of again, I think what Usmaan was alluding to, just the era and that is when Giggs played at United in his pomp, it was to supply to Cole York, Sheringham Solskjaer, Van Nistelrooy, Rooney, or whoever else was there. As he got older, and then when we changed to the 4-3-3 and started having our wingers score more goals, he became a centre midfielder because he lost his pace. He had to do it.
What I will say is, look, fair enough. If we want to talk about better players, I guess it comes down to preference. But when we're talking about goal scoring forward, he's got the place cemented.
I'll keep it short and sweet for you, right? This argument here for me. Just tell you what it is. And I'm going to bring Kish. I'm sorry, Kish. I know you're not to say. If people look at stats for everything, I know you're not one of these people. I'm just saying it generally, right? If people look at the stats for everything, they say Lukaku's better than Drogba comfortably because of what Lukaku's done in the game. And then they'll say Bergkamp's not as good as X, Y, and Z because Bergkamp starts saying nothing special either. There's so many players from that era, with the Giggs' era. Perez starts with shit as well, and he was an absolute borner. Ljungberg's not got a particular.
Can I ask one question though, just to see, because I'm totally against the stats argument thing, and I get what you're saying. But then if I was to ask you something, for example, who's the better player? Like, forget like all of it. Better player, Bale or Giggs? Because I think that's a fair comparison.
Bale or Giggs?
Yeah, Bale or Giggs.
I'd say probably Bale, to be fair. I think Bale's.
But why would you say Bale?
I think as a player, I think Bale is definitely better as an overall player. I think I feel like Salah has got obviously something to his game, but he's just a finisher for me. Like, he's more of a finisher than anything.
Yeah,
IQ, don't get me wrong.
I don't know.
I feel like Giggs' overall game is better than Salah's. I think Giggs' overall game is better than Salah's.
Fair enough.
But do you think it's like this, or do you think it's like this?
For what, in terms of overall game?
Yeah, as in the difference between the two.
It's definitely close, because obviously Salah's finishing way better, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? So obviously that pegs him back in, and do you know what I mean? So it's not.
Yeah, we're gonna have to agree to disagree, innit?
Yeah, but that's fair enough. Kish, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a very close one, and I think it's very difficult to compare because of the way the sports science and everything changed over the years. And I think the modernization of a winger has changed massively. I think that's what it is. Yeah, back in the 90s, 2000s, if you were a winger and you got about 9 to 10 goals a season, that was classed as a very, very good season. These days, you're talking likes of Sane, Sterling, Mane. If you don't get 20 goals minimum a season, that's classed as a poor season. If you're playing for a big team and you're a winger, there's a lot more onus on you. And I think Giggs' role at Man United in that time was to supply the forwards. If he did that, or if he was, say, the one who created the attacking opportunity for the counter or for the team to move forward, because United were really a dominant counter-attacking team in those days. And I think that for him was a success. Whereas now, Salah's whole game is around the goals that he scores, because he loses possession. He loses possession regularly. In fact, Lawless was right. Before this game, he'd gone on like a 5-6 game drought in terms of league goals, and he was losing the ball a lot of the times against teams such as your West Broms and your Newcastle. Well, I think it was your Fulhams and those sort of teams. So for him, it is goals, and he's got that greediness about him, like a Ronaldo, where he probably will be on the 40 to 50 goals a season, no doubt. But the other parts of his game, in terms of his ball retainer and his kind of selflessness, because a lot of the time people have said that out of the front three, who would you let go? And a lot of Liverpool fans have said Salah, and the reason being is Mane. You heard him moan about Salah at times on the pitch, where a lot of the times he doesn't see the bigger picture, and it is about goal, which is why his stats are ridiculous. Because then, if you're going to have a comparison about goals, you're always going to say Ronaldo is higher up than Messi because of the goals.
The best, isn't it, automatically?
Do you know what I mean? So I think you've got to be very, very careful.
You got to impact. For me, but I base players on impact, basically.
I mean, if you're going to base it on stats, Ronaldinho's highest.
Hazard's stats are shit as well, though, compared to Salah.
But that's what I mean. Ronaldinho's highest ever goal stats in a season in La Liga is 19 goals. And you're talking about one of the greatest ever players of your generation and probably most generations. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
it's difficult to compare.
Salah's to be honest, actually, now the more I think about it, I'm just going to finish on this point. Salah basically plays in strike, really, because Firmino is a defender, isn't he, up front? So he plays like
he's a winger now.
But for me, it does all the dog bit for him. Salah practically plays in strike most of the game because he's basically drifting into those areas. But again, that's their system. But anyways, look, I'll leave it to you guys. There's one guy near saying, it's just basically taking piss on me. How can man call Bale better than Giggs? Look, that's just my personal opinion. It's what it is, isn't it? But look, it is what it is. I'm not going to get into that. You know, if you think Giggs is better, it's calm. Anyways, let's finish on Tuchel, or Tuchel, how do you pronounce his name? Let's come to Kale first. What are your thoughts, bro? Because a lot of Chelsea fans are buzzing after that 2-0 win, man. What are your thoughts as a rival fan looking at that?
It was a good win. I think it's harsh to judge him now, considering he's only had 2 games. But in terms of pedigree, he's obviously one of the biggest managers in the game. It all depends on what manager Chelsea are going to get, though. Do they get the PSG? I guess he was a winner, but then again, it is PSG, so he almost expected to win. But then again, he also did get to the Champions League final, so that's decent. Or did they get Borussia Dortmund, who they played nice football, but in terms of what Chelsea fans demand and what Roman Abramovich demands, they didn't exactly get the trophies. And will he get the trophies? I'm not too sure on that.
Interesting. Notice, what do you reckon? What are your thoughts on Tuchel's?
Do you know what? Like, it's so. it's hard for me to really have an opinion because like it's such early doors, and to see what Chelsea, when they've brought in managers before and got really excited, and it happens to a lot of us anyway. Like you bring in a new manager, everything's all exciting, it's new, you get that new manager bounce.
Yeah, you're telling me though.
Most of the time, like you get that fresh new manager bounce, and that's where like Chelsea are. They feel like all of the problems under Lampard are going to be solved, and they're going to move forward in a new direction. It's just about okay, when it comes to the summer transfer window, can he get in the right players that he needs, build the squad, and then challenge from there? Because he's not going to get that time at Chelsea. You don't get time at Chelsea, so. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, he's not. I mean, I think he's obviously a good manager. He's up there. He's not one. I wouldn't put him in that category of being an elite manager.
He's not in Moyes or Ali's level, is he? Really?
No, not at all. No, but he's not like. Yeah, I wouldn't put him in like a Pep Klopp type of level, or anyone like that. Like
yeah.
There's still a bit like, to me, there's still a few question marks over him. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be about next season. I mean, if he can do something this season with those players, I mean, he's got to try and get Werner, firing and Havertz and all of them doing their thing. So I think this season it's going to be interesting if they don't get top four. What Chelsea fans are going to be saying about him, because he has come in late. Are they going to allow him? Or do they want him to come and make an impact straight away? Obviously, Daniel will be able to answer that, but it's going to be very interesting.
I'm going to come to Kojo first. I'll let Daniel finish on it. Kojo, what do you reckon about Tuchel's appointment? How it started, should I say?
Yeah, I don't know how Chelsea fans are going to take to him as it goes on, as it progresses. Because I mean, if you ask someone like Aubameyang produced crazy under him. Some of the fans loved him, but he split opinion at both Dortmund and PSG because they weren't too in love with his style. It was always fast. It is fast paced, but it's sort of like a lot of fans are like counter attacking. They like possession based and all that. I think he's trying to do that at Chelsea. I think they've had a better control of game so far.
Yeah. Jorginho's
yeah, so you can see that he's trying to adapt his ideas. Maybe he learned that at PSG because he had better players, so they're the more dominant side in Ligue 1. So he had time to really adapt his ideas and learn a more possession-based style. So we'll see how that goes. I think the one thing he has to do right now is try and get just more production out of forward players. Simple as that. I think Hudson-Odoi has looked decent since he came in as a new manager. So more progression there. Werner needs Jesus, to be honest. But he needs to save Werner. And maybe a bit more from Havertz as well, because I know a lot of people have been on his neck. I'd say give it a year and then let's see what he does next season. But it's more about the production. But this is Chelsea at the end of the day. I think this season it's not a write-off, but you would forgive Chelsea if they didn't get top four because people will go back and say it's Lampard's fault. I think he's got more than enough time and the gap is like this to get top four. Get more consistent results, you'll get there fine. Next year is big. Very big. So he needs to be careful. But I don't like the guy anyway, so I hope he gets fired.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't like him either for obvious reasons. But Daniel, let's come to you. Obviously, Lawless asked the question. We'll let you answer it. Also, that 2-0 win, clean sheet, building blocks or not? What do you reckon?
You're on mute.
The expectations for this season are obviously from the board to finish in the top four, and they think.
What about you as a fan? What were you as a fan?
No, I believe we can get top four as well. I won't crucify him for not getting top four as long as it's like maybe if it was like a 1 point thing that went down to the final day.
What if he's 10 points off top four?
10 points off, he'll probably get sacked.
Too short out.
Yeah, probably get sacked. We definitely expectations from the board. Top four. Me as a fan, as long as we're there, like I think we should be. Chelsea have the capabilities of getting over the top because of the experience that we have. Like for example, obviously this is not to be rude, but I've said I believe Tottenham, once Kane or Son got injured, they'd be out of it. I've said West Ham won't sustain this. I mean, as much as it's all well and good, but they won't sustain this. Southampton, Aston Villa.
5 points clear, my friend. 5 points clear.
I mean, the thing is, it's all well and good, but then when I look at West Ham's run of games after the
you're only 2 points clear.
What are we? I thought it was
Yeah,
5.2.
2-2. Yeah,
I've got it.
133, you're 35.
And
Yeah.
Spurs beat Chelsea,
Alright,
they're
2
above
points.
you, so...
We were fine.
Yeah. But
Oh
nah,
yeah, it was the Liverpool. Yeah, the fact that we lost and they won. Yeah, closed the gap.
That's right, yeah.
But no, man, look, at the end of the day, the point of Chelsea fans in terms of Chelsea, it's that Lampard didn't give us a style of play to believe in, innit? We didn't have a style of play. And if you see the board's letter to the fans, it was that they didn't see how Lampard was going to get us out of the mess or the bad run of form. So everyone was saying we should have given him time like Oli and Arteta. But at the end of the day, Oli and Arteta managed to pull results out of the bag. Like Chelsea just never showed once this season that we could pull a result when we were in a bad situation. Like, I don't think we ever recovered from a losing position this season. Like, and I think that's where it was coming from, that kind of inkling that Lampard wasn't able to do it. But with Tuchel, you can see that there's been clear ideas, clear message sent to the players. I mean, you can see the press instantly. You know, obviously, I don't want to look too much into it. It's 2 games, and you can't really take much out of it. But one thing that definitely can be taken out of it is the amount of chances that we're creating. We're creating way more chances.
But this happened under Lampard, though. Like, you're saying the exact same thing that you said when Lampard first came in.
No, because when Lampard first came in, like, we weren't judging him necessarily on...
Yeah, but that's the same with every manager, though, apart from Ljungberg. But every other manager, when they first come in, even Jose Mourinho, his teams look like they can attack and whatnot. Any Kish?
No, man, but my point...
Hey, Usman's a bad guy, you know.
Bro, you don't know. I
leave
won Keisha from day one, Daniel. No day one, right? I think you won 5-1 or some shit in Jose's first game. I don't know what it was.
No, we beat West Ham. We beat West Ham 3-2 away from home.
Whatever. Oh yeah, it was those 3, whatever. The Spurs were scoring loads of goals. Kish was like, "Oh, we're playing attacking football under Jose. I told you to change. I told you." I said to him, "He's not gonna change. He does this everywhere he goes. He starts off attacking football, and then slowly but surely the fossil football."
Can I just add something on Chelsea? Though? I think the one good thing that Tuchel's done so far is the game.
Kish, what about this coming year? Kish looks like he's just watched 95 minutes.
I'm telling you, on my mum's life, I'm not watching the next game. I don't care. I'm just gonna look. I'm literally just gonna put the notifications on. We concede. I'm chucking my phone in the bin. But yeah, I think for Tuchel, I think he started 3 at the back in the weekend, which is
both games.
It's created a lot of success for Chelsea in recent years. I think under Conte, they won the league playing the wing backs, and to be fair, Alonso, the one thing I would say is when you play him in that position in particular, he's quality. It's when you put him in a back 4 where he's pathetic. You can't come back, but put him in a back 3 with wing backs, he's dangerous. And I think if Tuchel, I always said at the beginning of the season, Rudiger and Aspilicueta and Thiago Silva, they are Chelsea's best centre halves. Whatever you say about Zuma, yes, he's improving, but I'd still have Rudiger over Zuma in my opinion, the starting 11. So he's brought in players into the squad where really I think it was Lampard's stubbornness or whatever's happened in the background that he didn't want to play them. And this is the formation that's created havoc for opposition sides in recent years for Chelsea. So
and on top of that, Kish, as well, like even what Usmaan was saying, I mean, again, like I'm not saying, Tuchel has brought in a style that is going to guarantee us the league and whatever. Like we can only go off of what we've seen in it. And I know you're saying we said that when Lampard first came in, but what's clear is that forget Lampard's first season. We're talking about why he got sacked. So the gap between what Lampard was doing and what Tuchel has done so far, there's a clear difference, and that's all we can go off of. We can't.
I also think, Daniel. I think there's a way back for Kepa in the starting lineup because it looks
no way. He's not coming back.
If it's hopefully then obviously there's hope for Kepa. The boys.
Kepa is the world keeper in Premier League history, as in without a shadow of a doubt. Of all starting keepers, number 1 choice keepers, he's the worst. Worst transfer in history, whatever you want to call it, he's the worst.
Listen, if Alonso can come back from the dead, then Kepa, there's always a chance.
No, Kepa, Alonso could always play. Alonso could play left wing back. It's just in the left back position, he was poor. People forgot how good Alonso was left. Like he's an attacking outlet left wing back.
I'm gonna star this because I guarantee
Kepa's not coming back. Shall I tell you why? Did you see?
Remember this, Usmaan. Remember this clip, yeah.
He's not coming back. Did you see Kepa's mistake in the FA Cup?
Yeah,
Against
it's
Flipping-
Yeah, but he was Lampard out.
No, it's because it's because Lampard was in the dugout. Now it's
Lampard
Tuchel.
out. He was Lampard out, man.
No, he was bad on the Sarri as well.
Yeah, he was sorry out as well in there. Didn't share the fighters like that.
He's going to be
But,
every keeper out at this rate.
Yeah.
And I also think as well, just a final point, Thiago Silva, because Tuchel had him at PSG, is a
Wait. Hold on. Usmaan,
Go on.
please, I want an apology. I just want an apology.
Okay, one second. Let me just.
If you don't give me an apology, I'm going to get the clip and
I'm
post it on
gonna
Twitter.
apologize right now.
Alright,
Okay, so I just want to apologize that Thiago Silva is taking the mighty Chelsea that spent 250 million.
Here we go. So
you proved me wrong. I didn't realize.
do you know what's Kojo? Do you know what?
I didn't realize it could be
Let me come to the more sensible fan. Kojo knows if United, if we put Thiago Silva up for sale right now and we said United have Thiago Silva, you take him in a heartbeat. Oh yeah, sure. And we're getting Mbappe.
What do you mean we're getting Mbappe?
You're not getting Ramos.
You've got bloody what's his name, Alonso playing there, man. You don't need him.
I swear we have a better defensive record than United though.
Well, that's not an achievement, is it?
That's Thiago Silva though. Isn't that? Let me check.
You may make sure that's right, you know, because if it's wrong,
Yeah, let me check.
I'm checking it now. By 4 goals, your defense is better than us.
That means it's better.
Yeah, no. So
Pardon?
by 4 goals. So if we concede 4 left,
Yeah, but it's not. No, don't let him do that. No, I know.
But you're sat in 7th though. But I would rather be 2nd or 7th. Like, do you know what I mean?
That's not we're talking about Thiago Silva. Crying out
Yeah,
loud.
but Thiago Silva's take you from 250 million spent to 7th. Like where did you finish last season? 4th, and now you're sat in 7th.
Are you going to finish second this season?
But under his captaincy, you've gone from
Are
4th
you
to
going
7th.
to finish second this season?
We'll finish above you.
in Jesus' name we shall.
Alright, cool. Remember you said that. Cool.
We'll finish above you. Your manager's racist. Anyways, on that note, I just want to say, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, myself and Tyrone, we're going to be on at 9. Obviously, we'll delve into the racism as always, like usual, and we'll go into more detail about that. As always, make sure you drop that hammer, except that I'm saying again.
Alex Ferguson never bought African players. Just saying.
No. We bought one and you stole him. Yeah? We bought one and you stole him. Okay?
You didn't buy him, clearly.
So why'd you pay us for him?
You know, I've got a picture where he's wearing the United shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Right, Kojo, if I don't, we'll come to Kale. Actually, Kale, where can we find you, brother?
Try to get this right. Free Midfield, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Twitter. Free Midfield.
Yes.
Smashed it this time.
You love to see it. Kojo, you know what I'm saying? Where can we find you, bro?
You know what? Let me just 1 second.
You get in your phone.
Nope. There you go. Oh, Footy Says also. There you go. Yeah. You can find me on Footy Says also. Shout out Footy Says. There you go.
Make sure you show up on there as well as free midfield. Lawless, bro, you disappointed me this weekend, but you know I still got love for you. Where can we find you, man?
At the Lawless, Twitter, West Ham Fan TV, everywhere else, all social media platforms.
Absolutely, Kish. Obviously, you're going to be getting a lot of comments. You know, what are your thoughts?
If you want to see the sequel to Jurassic Park, just follow me on Twitter. You can do you know what I mean?
Man said Jurassic Park. Daniel, last but not least, bro, where can we find you, man?
Eyes on the Ball TV, man. Eyes on the Ball TV. That's where my
I got my eyes on the ball.
Yeah.
It's a banger.
But listen, I'm just remembering before we go, okay, we've got to get everyone's score prediction actually. Chelsea v Spurs, that's the only proper game. We'll leave you to don't give the full story. I'm looking for score prediction, Daniel and Kish. Remember last time, though, they spoke for 30 minutes on a nil-nil. Right,
the deadest game.
No. I'm not letting Usmaan have this because United are the outlier in every big game. 0-0 every game.
Yeah, to be honest, I'll give you that. We are shit, so I'll accept it. Anyways, Cahill, what's your score prediction for Spurs v Chelsea? I don't even know, so
1-1 maybe.
All right, fair enough. Cody, what are you going for?
2-1 Spurs.
Jose Masterclass.
Yo, no, that's what you're going for.
Let's go.
0-0.
Raw,
Focus.
that just saying.
Another one.
We've got a lot of people putting in the chat as well. Cage, what you saying? Fossil Football, the greatest manager to grace Chelsea, apparently.
Yeah, 2-0 Chelsea.
What?
What?
I'm broken, mate.
Lost all hope.
He's broken. Yeah, he's broken, man. He's done.
We'll probably start Winks up front because he doesn't want to start Vinicius.
No, what is Vinicius deserves it. Man did it.
He'll probably play long 40-yard passes to Winks up front. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that is
true. We'll tell him to do that celebration. Innit? But listen, last but not least, Daniel, what's the score prediction, mate? I know it's going to be W, but what's the score?
2-0.
Right, you both got 2-0, right?
Spurs.
No way. Chelsea.
Daniel's confident. I'm gonna say 1-1. The shittest game you see all weekend, but it'll be 1-1. Spurs score first. They're trying their best to part boss Alonso scores and then job done. But listen, thank you as always. Make sure you show love to the boys on the socials. I'll be back at 9 o'clock with Tyrone. We're gonna be discussing Man United v Southampton. Should be a good show. Anyways, catch you in a bit, man. Peace.